So risks, rework, for sure. If you go through and we're not taking our time when we're doing the documentation the first time, and you start to get really, the guys in the field who are doing the weld start to get really disciplined about the weld log. You know, they have to do this all day long. We need to be just as disciplined when we're doing a pressure test or anything else like that that is going to go on here, because it all has to match. When we get to ISOs, we're going to talk about the front has to match the back, because again, I'm reading this. I don't know anything about what happened out in the field. You're telling me a story by what is on your documents. And I need to be able to follow the story from the very beginning all the way to the very end without anyone helping me or providing me any additional explanation other than what's on the documents. Confusion. Oh my Lord, the confusion. Trying to decipher a weld log, you know, or an ISO that has a full weld log. You know, sometimes you have to add extra pages, because if you had a lot of deletions or failed welds or anything like that, you know, the only thing you can do is add on another page that's just the weld log and keep going. And sometimes it's, you know, I've had 2 additional weld logs added before because there's so many changes, deletions, failure, whatever the issue is. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes the owner has changed stuff and you've had to cut up that fab and redo it because it won't fit now or it won't work now. Sometimes you have a crew that comes in and undoes your work. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. You know, if you got a day shift, night shift thing going on, you know, the day shift installed it, and now the night shift comes and uninstalls it. That all goes on the same weld log. So it can be very confusing when you're sitting there trying to understand what happened. What order did it happen in? Where did we end up? And does the log in the back match what I'm seeing on the front of the ISO? That's the hardest part. The rest of the stuff is pretty tame in comparison, and we'll look at weld logs and all the things that go on them in the next class, but there's very limited writing space on those and a lot of information that has to be conveyed. So I would say that, you know, making sure that we do a clean job on the weld log is the most important. It's the most constrained space you have. Your reputation's gonna suffer if you're making a mess of it and you can't get it right. Your reputation will suffer. People are gonna go, oh my gosh, these guys at US Engineering can't do GDP. They can't log things correctly. So you want to make sure you're taking your time. Use that handout. Keep that. Use it to refresh your memory about how to do this stuff the next time you have to go use GDP on a project.